Hello all, welcome back to the channel, and if this is your first visit to my channel, welcome. I hope I can earn your subscription today. Yesterday we covered the Plane B10 free-to-play safe team, and we're doing the same thing for the water plane today. So we just finished our 25th test run with no fails, so it's a safe team, but it's not fast, and we'll get into that in a little bit. So we just did 5 more runs, and it ended up being 3 minutes, 37 seconds per run. That's way too slow. I set out wanting to make a speed team for this dungeon, given that my name is I Am Speed. But I am missing some key units, I have not found a way to make a speed team yet. But we are going to talk through this safe team, because there will probably be a lot of other people that don't have the units that I'm missing as well. And you can see this is the team I came up with. So it's all 3 stars plus 1 4-star. And so far, 25 runs, no fails. And I think I've gotten it pretty stable. One of the things I never want to do is suggest a team and have somebody else try it and have it not work for them. But you will have to follow how I built it pretty carefully, because when I first came up with this team, it was not stable. And you have to really carefully look at the speed tuning of the team, the speed of the units, the attack power, and then how tanky they are. If you don't do that, this team won't work for you. So please pay attention to this section. So I was initially running a team with 3 water sharpshooters. I thought I would do a kind of a cheesy team that would be, and it was faster. My record time on this dungeon is 2 minutes, 27 seconds, and that was with 3 sharpshooters. So it's faster, but it wasn't stable. They kept dying, even with quite a bit of HP and not a lot of attack. So I eventually went with the water giant with his 25% dungeon HP lead, and that is what got the team stable. And then it was just tuning things from there. So it's really important as you're building your team to understand the mechanics of the dungeon. The first thing is the 2 minions on the boss level will copy 2 of your units. They'll copy one of your units that has the highest attack power, and you'll copy another one of your units that has the highest attack speed, and then give them buffs. And it actually, so if you have a unit that has the highest attack power and the highest speed, it's going to duplicate that unit twice. I was originally trying to make this team with the Water Ripper as both the fastest and highest attack power unit, but that was giving them 2 fairly strong damage dealers. So that I ended up going with the Water Hog as the fastest. So the Water Giant is the HP lead to help keep the team alive, and then the fastest unit is the Water Hog, and it's on speed, HP, resistance. The resistance does help, but it's not high enough to guarantee that it won't get debuffed. So you need at least 40-50% more resistance, and I just don't have it on this particular gear set. So the intelligence setting is very important on 3 of the units in this run. First one is the Water Hog. Her cleanse and crit dampen buff is set to high, so that should be the first skill that's always used. But the ally has to have a debuff. Otherwise, she'll use it right away when you advance to the next stage. She'll use it right away before anybody has debuffs, and it's just wasted. So make sure you set that intelligence there. And so when the run starts off, she'll immediately use her skill 2, which will boost a unit. So the key thing here is you want one of your water sharpshooters to be a lower speed than the giant, so that the Water Hog Chef is going to be boosting the sharpshooter, so she gets to move ahead of the giant, because that helps make the first wave much quicker, because you kill things faster. And then the Water Ripper goes, and then the other sharpshooter, and then finally the giant. And that's, for this particular team, that's the order you want. So we're going to go ahead and start some runs here so that we can kind of just show a run that's going on. So there it is, boosting the sharpshooter first. That takes out one of the minions. And then the next sharpshooter goes, takes out another minion. And then you get a defense break on the next one. Then they get their turns. The water chef heals them up. And the really nice thing about the water sharpshooters is that after it kills a unit, it goes and attacks the next unit to put a defense break up for the next unit to hit. So it makes the run a little bit faster because you always end up with a defense break for units that are hitting. So you can see it's just a team effort to get rid of the waves. I don't have a really good AoE attacker that fit into this team. And we'll talk more about what the teams I tried here in a little bit. We're going to focus on this team. So we want to focus the right minion first. That's the damage dealer, so we want to get rid of that. There we go. We got a defense break on it. Next team up gets rid of it. And then one of the things I really like about the Water Ripper is it will actually cool down the enemy unit with its skill 2. So the Water Hog Chef does get to use a couple of its good skills in that first round. But once the Water Ripper has his skill 2 again, he'll use it, and we should see it. There we go. Cooled down the unit, also took half its HP and marked it. So all the other units can do more damage to the Hog Chef. And now it's been cooled down, so it's not going to be healing the boss. It's not going to be increasing the boss's attack power. So now the team is safe. That's the point where you know that it's going to be a good run. Now the boss can do whatever he wants. It's just a little bit slower than I would like, and we'll be going through the gear here in a minute. And one of the things you have to be careful of is you don't want to bring any attack bar reduction in, because any attack bar reduction you put on the boss will actually make the boss's attack bar go up by 50% of what the reduction should have been. So if you're bringing in a 50% reduction, it's going to increase the boss's attack bar by 25%. And that makes the boss take a lot of turns, and while he doesn't do a ton of damage, if he's getting a lot of turns, he will kill your team. 2 sources of defense break, and the Ripper is marking. And one of the nice things about the Water Giant is that it can taunt. The side minions are immune to any inability effects. You can't stun them, you can't freeze them, you can't sleep them, but you can taunt them. So it's really nice to have the Water Giant on the run so that he can taunt the Water Ripper so that it won't always put up its skill 3, which keeps it from dying until the buff goes away. So that's a sample run, and obviously it's slow, but I don't have the speed team, so we're gonna look at the gear and then we'll talk about speed teams a little bit. But if you're missing the units that I'm missing and you can't do a speed team, this is a really nice safe team, so you can just set it for 10 runs, set it to the side, and you can do other stuff. All right, so we already saw the Water Hog Chef earlier. These are my 2 sharpshooters. This is the slower one that the Water Chef ends up buffing. It's on Swift Focus to make sure it has really high accuracy, so it's always landing its debuff. So it's on HP, and you can see I need a lot of converters and amplifiers there. Then it's on crit damage because I was able to get enough crit rate. One of the nice things about using the Water Sharpshooter is you only need 70% crit rate, because it's going to, and if you have 2 of them on the team, so you're always going to have a crit buff. So you only need 70% crit. So I was able to put her on crit damage. And then I was just looking for more accuracy, more attack, more speed, more HP. And she's on accuracy slot 6 to make sure that I have high accuracy to land my debuffs. Because landing those defense breaks are super important. Otherwise, you can't do enough damage to the boss quickly enough. The other Water Sharpshooter is built basically the same way. We won't look at it completely, but you'll just see that the stats are pretty similar. I've been finding that having about plus 11,000 HP, plus 500 or so defense is enough to allow them to survive the hits from the boss. Long enough for the healers on the team to heal them back up. This one has a lot less accuracy just because that's what I needed to have on this unit. You'll also notice that she's on Swift Protect to provide a shield buff. And I believe the other one is also on Swift Protect. I'm going to go back to it. So I put this one on Focus to make sure with the Hog Chef boost that she would definitely land her defense break on the first try, because that allows you to kill the first minion in the first wave. Another way I could improve this team is that I could put a Protect set on the Hog Chef so that we would have more shield when we hit the boss. And I might end up doing that. And then here's the Water Ripper. And the Water Ripper is on speed, crit rate, accuracy. And it's at 76% crit rate because it also gets a crit buff. Crit damage is only 69. Accuracy is pretty high because you want it to land its mark. And that will allow you to kill the side minions much quicker. And it's also at plus 11,000 HP because it needs to be able to take some hits. In fact, the defense is up at plus 700. And also on Swift Protect to have another shield set. So shield sets are cumulative. If you have them on multiple units, you have a bigger shield. So I did make the investment of putting unripened beans into my Water Ripper, and it was totally worth it because his skill 3 has 2 cooldowns. And he was not healing and putting up the nullify and unyielding buffs enough to make the team survive. So that's going to be really key. And then it's also really good to get his skill 2 maxed because that's the one that does mark and also does the cooldown. And that also has a cooldown turn. So, and having it available every 3 turns instead of 4 is big for when you're attacking the boss. So the Water Giant is on a Protect set and 2 Inspire sets so that the 2 Water Sharpshooters and the Ripper can do more damage. But again, I wanted a really nice shield set. So now I've got 3 units with shield. Maybe I'll add a 4th one for the Hog Chef just to make it even safer. But you'll also see that as we look through this gear, there's a bunch of, especially on the Protect sets, I need to farm more of that. I think most of the Protect sets are not amplified and not converted. So once I do all those, the team will even be better. And I can probably eventually start reducing the amount of shield sets and increasing the Inspire sets so that the team would be faster. Or I could just get super lucky and pull a Water Twin or a Water Nurse because that's where the speed teams are at. Water Surgeon is another one. So you can see there, 37,000 per hit on a triple hit. That's over 100,000 damage on the boss from the Water Ripper. So really nice damage. And I'm pretty sure he doesn't have super high. Yeah, his crit damage is only 69%. So once I get him moved over from crit rate to crit damage, slot 4, he should really pound the boss, and then definitely these runs will be faster. So that's one of the areas where there would be a big improvement. Okay, so there's 2 more runs, 318 and 338. But definitely once I get that Water Ripper on crit damage, it's going to be a lot better speeds. And once I raise the Water Ripper's attack power, that will allow me to raise the attack power of both the sharpshooters because their attack power is just below the Water Rippers so that they don't get copied. So if you look at the strategy, you go strategy, and you go fastest, you're going to start seeing almost every team has 1 or 2 water twins, so the first 4 teams are all twins. And then you'll also notice that 3 of the 4 teams all have 3 of the 4 fastest teams have water nurse. So it's very obvious how those are helping out. So then you see some of the other teams have the water surgeon in it. So it's the key Nat 5s that are helping a lot of people out are the water nurse, the water surgeon, and the water twin blade. If you have those, I would encourage you to go for a speed team. There are I've been watching all the teams all day today just to see what they're doing. And there was one team, I'm trying to see if it's still here. Yes. So we're going to give a little shout out to Super Jaden, to this team here, because I could actually build this team. The Water Sharpshooter, Water Eurolion, Water Joker, Water Hog Chef, and then Water Dr. Evil. Water Dr. Evil is really nice because he provides 3-turn immunity, so the waves don't stun your team or slow them down. So that really helps speed up the run. But he doesn't have a lot of damage for actually going after the boss. But so if you watch, one of the things I encourage you, if you see a team that you can build, watch the replay of that team. We're not going to do that right now. It takes too much time. So if you watch the runs, you can see that his highest attack power unit is the Joker, who gets copied, and then the Water Hog Chef gets copied as the fastest unit. But once he kills off the Water Joker, then his team is very safe. So that's another, I don't know how fast that team is. You can't see the time on it, but it seemed that it was somewhat similar to my team. But that is another almost free-to-play team. You just have to have the Water Dr. Evil. That's it for sharing this team. I just wanted to get this out here so people who don't have the speed team units can get a team going and you can start farming so you can at least specialize some units. Until the next video, see you.